meteorites. Alien invaders that race through our atmosphere and crash to Earth without warning. Steve Arnold and Geoff Notkin live to exhume these scientific wonders from deep space.
Numero uno!
Got one! Yay!
They are
Fantastic.
the Meteorite Men. On this expedition, the guys are in Poland, searching for long-buried evidence of one of the most witnessed meteorite falls in history.
100,000 sonic booms. It's like the end of the world.
And back on home turf, the guys have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to visit one of NASA's premier research facilities.
Wow. She's gorgeous.
Sophia, NASA's latest tool in its quest to unravel the mysteries of the universe and discover more about how meteorite showers originate and evolve. Space rocks. Traveling at an astounding 17,000 miles per hour, meteorites careen to Earth and remain buried until now. Geoff Notkin and Steve Arnold are in Pultusk, Poland, 35 miles from the capital city, Warsaw. More than 140 years ago, residents of this small town witnessed one of the most cataclysmic meteorite showers in history.
Back in the mid-1800s, this is a sleepy little village. They're just milking their cows and growing their farms. Out of the sky comes this giant fireball, breaks up into tens of thousands of pieces, pelting the area. I mean, it must have been like the end of the world. Armageddon's coming.
Pultusk was an enormous fall, one of the largest witnessed meteorite falls of any type. That means thousands of stones fell, possibly tens of thousands.
The meteorite fell during a harsh Polish winter, so stones were clearly visible on the snowy landscape. Local villagers began picking the fields clean. Many of the stones that were recovered were small and had a distinct round shape. Meteorite enthusiasts endearingly call these Pultusk peas. While estimates put the number of stones that fell at over 100,000, Geoff and Steve want to find out if the locals left any of this historic fall for them.
The real value of the Pultusk stones, they're quite desirable because they're a witnessed fall, they're an historic meteorite with a great story. A large piece might sell for somewhere between $5 and $10 a gram.
Geoff calls on his friend and local meteorite hunter, Marcin Solars.
And here he is.
Hello, Geoff.
How are you?
Steve.
Good to see
How
you.
are you?
Hello,
How are you?
my friend Steve Arnold. We're excited to be here.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
This is a fantastic place. This is legendary place, legendary for a meteorite community. So welcome.
Marcin's a great guy, and we've been colleagues for quite some years, but it's the first time we've actually spent any time together in person. Are you still finding stuff? Is there anything left for us?
I'm pretty sure.
He's pretty sure there's at
Yeah.
least one left.
They're
Yeah,
rare.
most of them were collected 140 years ago, just after fall.
The townspeople of Pultusk have truly embraced their chapter of meteoritic history. So much so that when word got out that Steve and Geoff were in town, the only appropriate thing to do was roll out the red carpet.
What a welcome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Where else can you go and people will line up and clap and appreciate that you've shown up to go find some meteorites?
Dzień dobry. So we had this amazing welcome.
Dzień dobry. Good morning.
I przekażemy może panom łopatę, żebyście...
And they've presented us with a shovel.
Woo! Not one of those gold-plated ones that sit in a case somewhere. I mean, a rusty shovel that we can go dig with.
Season of the hunting for a meteorite is open.
It's open. Woo! Yeah.
All right, let's dig.
That's what I said.
Oh, yeah.
There was this tremendous explosion.
Oh, yeah. It's a new experience for me. Now the pressure's on us. We've got to find something because the whole town's behind us.
Before they hunt, the guys want to get a look at the strewn field. The 600-year-old tower is a museum of Pultusk history, including one very loud night in 1868.
Can you imagine what would have been in Pultusk?
You're talking 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 sonic booms. It's like the end of the world. The cannon would have been nothing.
That's the classic Pultusk P, isn't it? the little round ones.
Exactly. From the beginning of the strip, from the village. You can see the area we're going to search.
Yeah? Okay. Oh, yes.
North to the Robley.
Oh, so yeah, I see what you mean. We are. There is the city of Pultusk, so we're actually
So
a little bit southwest.
Yeah. It was, 9 p.m. So it was dark.
It's dark.
Yeah. After, a few minutes, they heard the detonation in Warsaw, 70 kilometers. 70 kilometers from the strip.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And in Warsaw, there was a small earthquake when the body was going through.
Really?
Yeah, it was extremely right. From the witnesses from the Pultusk have seen such a light bright that they couldn't watch it. It was impossible to watch directly to the light.
Really? It was that bright?
And yeah, it would have gone over the top of Warsaw for the most part.
Yeah, it's through over the Warsaw. People thought that there is a fire because, there was a light for a couple of minutes on the sky.
Wow, we are up.
By peeking out of a tiny antique window, you could actually see the strewn field.
A strewn field is the footprint of a meteorite shower. Here at Pultusk, the strewn field covers 127 kilometers.
It would have been the most extraordinary view to be gazing through that little window and see this spectacular fireball, which is brighter than the sun, illuminate the whole night sky.
In an area twice the size of Manhattan, finding a small stone meteorite will be like trying to find a needle in Central Park.
Okay, we have a huge strewn field.
Exactly.
We only have a little bit of time. We can try to expand the perimeters, but it's been 140 years of that. So I would say we want to stay in the center, but then where? Where the real little ones are, the real big ones, the medium. There was some mention of it having been flooded. So there's some areas that back then were not accessible. Today, they might be.
In my opinion, the best place for searching a meteorite right now is the area where about 1 kilo stones maximum already landed. So this was the area that was flooded. Lots of meteorites fell into the swamps and into the water because there was a small lakes.
And the peasants couldn't see them.
Peasants couldn't see them.
That's actually a really interesting strategy. One of the things that concerned me is this was a massive witnessed fireball. January 30, 1868, was seen by thousands of people. There was snow on the ground. So the next day they go out and they start picking up black rocks from the snow. That's not hard.
Right.
They must have been really easy to spot. So our best chance, I think, of finding material is to go to places that they could not search in 1868. Right. So that's a brilliant idea. I know one of our prime directives is we're always trying the latest and greatest equipment. We're always trying to, find something that's even more unusual and better for our work. But we're going to do something a little different here, and I've been discussing this with Marcin a lot. He uses a detector, a very unusual detector that was built and designed here in Poland. They're able to discriminate out 100% iron or 90% iron pieces, whereas the 25% iron present in the Pultusk stones still registers. I know you would think you could not do that, but in fact, Marcin and his colleagues have figured out a way to do this. There is an unbelievable amount of trash in the strewn field because there are three major conflicts right in the strewn field. World War I, the war against the Bolsheviks in 1920, and World War II. So there are shell cases, ammo, bits and pieces of who knows what, everywhere. I mean, you can't walk 3 feet without getting a target. So if you go out there with the type of detectors we normally use, with all metal detection on, you're going to get a target every time you put your foot down. By using these Polish detectors, you're going to see something amazing.
Okay.
That we're actually going to be able to detect the stones, but not the man-made metallic trash. I'm really impressed with this new detector, so
I'm open to
psyched
anything.
to show you how it works. And then you can find some stuff and show me how to find them.
Yeah, okay. We really have to find one.
After the cannon and the whole town turns
Yeah.
out to greet us, if we don't find something, we're really gonna look like chumps.
The pressure's on. There were tens of thousands of rocks that landed. They couldn't have found them all. Now it's just a matter of getting boots in the grass and get over the rocks, because if we don't go over it, we can't detect them.
Here we go.
First up, a water-soaked meadow on the east side of the strewn field, just a short drive from town.
That's fun.
Thank you. I'm feeling very positive, very excited. This is one of the biggest stone-strewn fields in the history of the world, and I'm just dying to hit it.
I'm liking this. Are we gonna take turns carrying the ceremonial shovel?
You can have it.
Okay.
Not that I don't adore the ceremonial shovel.
This is swampy now, and you said that so much of this area was flooded, so hopefully the peasants stayed out, left the rocks for us. Well, you can keep looking. I'm gonna go hunt.
I'm pondering. It says the cow.
What? Land of the screaming cows.
Quiet, I'm working. It's interesting. Sticks to a magnet. Set off the detector. Doesn't feel heavy enough for a meteorite, though. We're expecting much bigger pieces in this zone. No, this actually sticks too well to the magnet. It's got to be man-made. Just a bit of junk.
Poland is one of the most battle-scarred countries in Europe, having endured major conflicts since the 1700s. At the closing stages of World War II, most of the town of Pultusk was destroyed as Soviet forces fought a bitter battle with the Nazi occupiers.
So the area is riddled with bullets and shell fragments and bits of rusted metal and we don't know what.
The guys normally utilize state-of-the-art metal detectors to find space rocks, but not on this expedition. In Pultusk, the guys are kicking it old school with detectors loaned to them by their local guide, Marcin Solars. They may not be the newest, but they do have one crucial feature: the ability to tune out local meteor wrongs.
We're using a detector that's manufactured in Poland. They don't make them anymore. And it's not that we don't have our own detectors. It's that this detector can be calibrated to ignore man-made trash.
And in the Pultusk strewn field, that's vital. The site the guys are hunting is littered with metal trash, creating a minefield of meteor wrongs.
We have here a piece of terrestrial man-made iron, probably a bit of an old bolt, and here is an actual Pultusk meteorite. With discrimination off, we pick up the trash, and we pick up the meteorite. Now, if we put the discrimination on maximum, watch this. We still get the meteorite, but absolutely nothing on the trash. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? Have you ever seen anything like that before? Here, in this specific strewn field, with this specific meteorite, it's an older, simpler, more analog detector that is the best one for the job. The one downside is it will pick up pockets of mineralized soil, and it will also pick up highly rusted man-made stuff. But it's cutting out about probably 95% of the trash. It's fantastic.
And there's a lot of trash out here. Well, hello. Ladies, any of you seen any meteorites around here? I'll take that as a no.
We're projecting our imagination back into history. Tens of thousands of meteorites fell. And the locals went out and started collecting them right away. Black rocks against white snow, easy as could be to find them. But there were certain areas that were flooded, and we think this was one of them. So if you assume that meteorites fell somewhat evenly over this entire area, we might still find meteorites here.
The rocks that rained down on Pultusk were a type of meteorite called a chondrite. Chondrites are named for their most prominent feature, millimeter-sized bodies called chondrules. These chondrules formed 4.5 billion years ago in the solar nebula, the cloud of gas and dust from which the sun and planets formed. Stone meteorites do, however, contain iron in small, scattered grains.
That attracts too strongly to be a stone meteorite. That's a decayed bit of iron, some man-made thing. Interesting thing about this detector, it won't pick up the majority of man-made trash. But if they're heavily rusted pieces, it thinks they're old meteorites. I like it.
Steve is carefully gridding his section of turf.
A little bit of a signal that's super weak. And then when I opened the hole to try to sort where the target's at, it got really weak. Kind of a little phantom signal, I don't know.
Soil around the world varies in its level of mineralization. At Pultusk, water has caused iron compounds to migrate to the surface, giving the soil a dark, almost reddish color.
I guess not. Nah, it's just mineralized soil.
Just like space rocks, mineralized soil produces its own magnetic field, creating false positives and more meteor wrongs. The dirt underneath Geoff and Steve's feet is going to be a bigger problem than they thought.
So here we see that we're getting a signal in the hole and from the dirt that's come out. So that's,
Yeah,
that's
that means
mineralized.
that, yeah, this is a mineralization of the soil. So it's not good.
Oh, all the dirt's doing it. Oh, this isn't good. It's teasing me.
I think we should ban mineralized soil. The swinging the detector is getting really boring.
Amazing detector, no targets.
I really want to get up to one area on the strewn field map. There were finds made all southwest of there recently.
The area where Geoff wants to go is a small patch of land hemmed in by the river. It's time to hit the road. Well, road is a strong word.
Oh, this looks good.
This entire expanse had to be swamp. How many meteorites do you think are out there, Marcin?
25.
25.
I want to find one.
Yeah, let's find the one.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Geoff's new plan doesn't take into account the waterlogged terrain.
I know that two big pieces were found down here in the past couple of years. As best Marcin knows, that northeast quadrant's never been searched, and that's where I keep trying to get to. And I hiked all the way out there, and there's a big swamp, and I couldn't get through.
Once considered bad omens, meteorites were feared by ancient people. Now they're celebrated for their wonder and studied for their data.
By studying the Pultusk meteorite, we can begin to build up a chronology of the formation of our early solar system. When did things form, and what sequence did things form?
As a stony meteorite, the Pultusk space rock is similar to the structure of the cosmic bodies that made up our infant solar system. That's because they date back 4.5 billion years to the birth of our corner of space. Early in its life, our solar system was just tiny dust particles. Through a process called accretion, these galactic dust bunnies stuck to each other, forming larger objects. Those large objects merge with other larger objects, making, you guessed it, even larger objects. This process continues, eventually forming embryonic planets.
But we really still have an incomplete picture of the precise sequence of events, so it's just a small part of the story.
And it's a small part of the same story the Meteorite Men are pursuing on Polish soil. They're searching for fist-sized space rocks from a legendary fall in 1868.
This is good.
An hour into the hunt, Steve may be about to open a new chapter.
There's something in there, isn't there? Maybe it's just the dirt.
I think it's nothing.
In the Pultusk strewn field, the local soil with its heavy iron content is throwing up false target after false target, and Steve is becoming increasingly frustrated.
It's insane.
The guys change locations, following a new strategy suggested by their Polish host.
So Marcin has a surprise for us.
Ah, surprises.
Marcin loves the field so much that he actually bought property in the strewn field and is building a house there, which will be his summer retreat.
The guys have thoroughly scoured 3 locations in the Pultusk strewn field. Now Marcin is leading them to the 4th location, the one that he's put money on.
There is a ruined building on Marcin's property that was constructed very shortly after the Pultusk meteorite fall. So this is Marcin's meteorite mansion, your very own piece of the strewn field.
Yes.
Oh, it's beautiful. Did you make that yourself?
No.
I'm just kidding.
We are exactly in the middle of the Pultusk true field, so there is a chance we can find some meteorites.
The reason the land here is good for grazing dairy cows is the very same reason the guys could find meteorites among century-old construction materials.
It's quite difficult to find large rocks for building. There are no terrestrial rocks around here, hardly any. Marcin speculated that since the barn on his property was built shortly after the Pultusk meteorite fall, they may have actually used some meteorites to construct the foundation.
If you could just find somebody who'd be willing to excavate and clear your ground at, say, no cost whatsoever, wouldn't it?
Of course, Marcin will also get the foundation excavated for free, thanks to the Meteorite Men.
Have you read Tom Sawyer?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm getting a feeling here on it.
Geoff and Marcin start turning rocks, hoping to find a Pultusk space stone hidden in the foundation. And Steve starts by gridding the backyard.
I was kind of a little skeptical because these meteorites were worth money, and the peasants that were collecting them back then, they found over 10,000 meteorites there. I mean, these people knew what they were looking at. But the house is in the strewn field. It's a long shot, but you know, if you don't gamble a little bit, you're never gonna get lucky. Oh, okay. So your cow's working your way over here.
Nice one, Steve.
No meteorites in that pile.
Just as Steve runs out of luck, Marcin turns over one more rock and makes a surprising discovery.
Oh, what's this?
Is that common to use old shoes in the foundations in Poland? That's recycling.
Yeah.
So we didn't find anything of note, but it was a lovely idea. It was worth a shot.
Annoyed by their lack of progress, Steve and Geoff begin a second day zeroing in on a pocket of land close to the river. They're hoping that a change in location might result in a change in fortune.
Today's the day, I've got a feeling.
And if you keep saying today is the day, one day it will be.
One day, maybe.
I think we should go that direction.
I don't know. I think I want to go into the trees if they're not too bushy.
Hunting around the trees, Steve is hoping to find a target other hunters wouldn't even have bothered to look for because it was too hard to reach.
I'll see you guys.
Have fun.
Okay.
Let's continue the mission.
The meteorite fall in Pultusk has been heavily searched for decades.
So this is it?
Yeah.
But Geoff still believes the area close to the river could be rich with space rocks.
This area is so prime for hunting. We're convinced that we'll find something.
Meanwhile, back in the forest,
Okay, I'm going to dig this. Yeah, it stinks.
the small object sticks to the magnet. But is it a meteorite?
I'll save it, but I don't think it is.
You like it?
Here's my big find for the day.
What is that?
Made a lot of noise.
He holds up this stone that is about the size of an ant's head. It was just minute.
This is nice.
What? It looks nice?
Yeah.
You like it?
Yeah. I don't like the size.
I don't like the size either.
And Marcin looked at it with a loupe and he goes, yes, I think this probably is one.
This is the smallest one ever found.
Congratulations, Steve.
Whoa!
It looks like meteorite for me.
It does. Looks like I found a little sub-gram size Pultusk pea. Kind of cute.
Steve's rock may be small. Is it the first of many? Or will this be as good as it gets?
I think it's real.
But it has one interesting characteristic about it. It's a lot bigger than anything Geoff's found so far.
The rock is so tiny, to find out if it's a real cosmic gem, it'll need to be scrutinized in a lab. Literally wanting to leave no stone unturned, Geoff spots a new hunt site.
I realized that this sand quarry that we drove through was actually part of the strewn field and perhaps an excellent place to hunt. Any Pultusk meteorites that may still be in the area are at a very shallow depth, probably 4, 5, 6 inches at the most. The quarry operators had scooped the top couple of feet off. If you were to scoop tons and tons of topsoil from a large area and dump it in one place, there should be a bunch of meteorites in those piles. We made a quick stop. We went in, spoke to the quarry manager. He gave us permission to hike through the sand piles.
Good luck, guys.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your help.
Thanks.
Oh, it's my own giant sand pit.
There's no doubt we're in the middle of the strewn field. The manager confirmed that this is the top layer.
Yeah.
So when they're finished with their mining operation, they're just going to put the top layer back.
Yep.
And leave it the way it was.
Yep.
So that's good for us. Statistically, in this big an area, there have to be some meteorites. The question is, are they visible?
on top.
Yeah.
Yep. One way to find out.
Let's clamber.
Geoff's strategy is to travel light with just a magnet on the end of his hammer.
I'm just looking for anything out of the ordinary.
Looking for anything that pops out.
If there's a Pultusk meteorite in here, it's gonna be a bit rusty, it's gonna be dark, rounded. Imagine a rusty potato poking out of the ground.
We're looking for fist-sized things, not little ones.
A little bigger than a man's fist.
Wet weather could actually help the Meteorite Men. Wind and rain create a phenomenon that makes stones stand up and be noticed, a condition called pedestaling.
Here's a great example of pedestaling. Pedestaling is something that when it's heavy, the wind and rain comes in and it washes and blows away the dirt around whatever's heavy. Even these ordinary rocks create a little pedestal and they just sit right up there on top. Wow. Nice. Oh, some of the same crap that we've been digging up all over the place. Metal, man-made, but it's a great example of something sitting on top of the ground, about the right color, about the right magnetic pole, just not what we're looking for.
Steve finds Meteor wrong.
This one's the right color, but there's no magnetic attraction.
After Meteor wrong.
Ah! Teasing me, teasing me. Another one. No magnetic attraction.
After 2 hours with no finds, the guys are wondering if the locals really did pick the field clean.
They gotta be in here. One big one, that's all I ask. Well, it was worth a shot.
Yeah. If we don't find anything now, I'm gonna feel a bit embarrassed. I feel like all the people in the town are watching us. Woo!
But Steve and Geoff have one more day and one more waterlogged location to hunt.
I really pride myself on being an optimist.
Can they still snatch victory in their final 24 hours?
Wow. An official meteor on. What's that definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results each time? Oh, look, a little frog on a turd. Oh, man, I'm not digging under that. Save that one for Geoff. Geoff, I got a target for you.
Okay.
I'll mark it. I'll leave my shovel in it.
Oh, yes, that's very amusing. Steve, you should take that home as a souvenir.
We should take a picture. We went meteorite hunting in Poland, and all we brought back was this shovel and its special stand. Sure you don't want to dig it?
No, thanks.
Okay.
Determined to leave no stone unturned, Geoff and Steve have come up with a new location to hunt.
If those statistics are right, there'd be a couple of thousand per square kilometer, and that's obviously not the case.
Exactly. Nonetheless, we still have to do what we can do. I'm beginning to think this idea that there's stones laying out here that haven't been picked up yet is totally bogus.
The guys' final location is deep in the woods.
I think if we can get in and around.
This is Geoff testing one.
Let's just do it.
We are good to go.
I'm going this way. Why don't you go that way?
I wanted to go that way.
Okay, you go that way, and I'll go this way.
Marchin was certain that the forest had not been hunted, because the few guys that come out here and search on their own, they can't be bothered to go in the forest because they've been finding stuff in the fields. The really experienced hunters are making one find per 2 weeks on the ground, and they're working 10 hours a day, and they go fast and they know what they're doing. That sounds really good.
Oh, wow, this is soft. This is not like the turf we've been digging out in the fields. Where's my target?
Oh, it's lots of little iron fragments.
This detector will pick up heavily rusted iron. It thinks they're meteorites. But unfortunately, they're not.
Hey, wait a minute. Ah, a beer can. This isn't good. Oh, wow. That is weird. A whole horde of bottles. Why would someone come neatly stack a bunch of empty bottles? It's a job for an archaeologist, not a meteorite hunter to figure out.
I was very surprised when we got in amongst the trees because it was clearly a new forest. It was a man-made forest, and all of the pines and birches were perfectly aligned. That meant all the soil had been disturbed. So any meteorites that might be in the forest are probably going to be extra difficult to find. Again, it was a good try. Sound theory, no results.
Ooh. Steve or Geoff, I found a really good maybe.
You found a good maybe, did you say?
Good. Come to me. I think you really need to see this.
Copy that, Steve.
Definitely sticks to the magnet. It's just hard to tell. Oh, that looks good.
Wow. I say that looks rather good.
I hate not knowing.
It's interesting. It needs to be checked. We should definitely take it to the lab and cut it.
I hate not knowing. I hate not knowing.
So the jury's out. I am leaning towards I don't think it's a meteorite.
Has Steve recovered a space rock from the original Pultusk fall? Or is he holding on to something born of the Earth?
No, I'm not so sure. It'll have to go to the lab.
Wow. Do you still want to be a meteorite hunter when you grow up?
I want to be a meteorite finder when I grow up. Well, let's look at the bright side. We didn't get struck by lightning.
We searched in every imaginable type of terrain. Sand pit. Swamp.
Yep.
Pasture.
We've covered a lot of ground.
Well, Steve, you're already world famous for finding the largest oriented balisite in history at 1,430 pounds. And Marchand thinks that you may have set a new world record on this trip, the smallest Pultusk ever found.
At 0.1430 grams.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, well.
I know we were hoping to maybe find something bigger, but you've probably got one small one, and we've got a could-be interesting rock.
Yep.
Let's go home and go to the lab. Goodbye, Poland. Thanks for the pierogies and the great vodka.
The guys return to Arizona State University, where Dr. Lawrence Garvey is going to put their Polish finds under the microscope.
Thank you.
First up, the larger of Steve's mystery finds.
I found a really good maybe.
An end piece has been sliced off and set in epoxy.
Well, should we have a look at it under the microscope? It's curious looking.
A small drop of acid may reveal its origin.
Some obvious man-made steels go very black when you put the acid on. And then it's obvious it's not a meteorite. Meteorites never go really black. Just gonna put one tiny drop and see if anything happens. Wow, it's not going black, so it's still up in the air. Let me just get the excess acid off there so it doesn't continue to etch.
The guys might be looking at a genuine Pultusk meteorite.
Oh, it's fascinating.
Okay, let's do it.
A battery of protons fired at the rock will make the piece emit X-rays. The X-rays can be read to determine the exact chemical composition.
Let's see if we have a meteorite.
The one thing the guys don't want to see at this stage is manganese.
The beam is on its way.
If they find manganese, this mystery rock is almost certainly man-made metal.
In the lower end of the spectrum, we're seeing some sulfur, and back here we have chlorine. This little peak, that's manganese.
So it's a nice bit of steel, man-made steel.
So that would be a no. Deal.
Yeah, we'll never find manganese in our meteorites.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Barry.
All right. Oh, well.
The guys have one last chance at victory, no matter how small. Steve's tiny specimen.
Why are you bringing me this? They found 1/4 of a ton of meteorites, and you bring that back.
That's more than he brought back.
Fair enough. Well, let's have a look.
Okay.
The piece is too small to cut open, and dripping acid on the little thing might just destroy it. Dr. Garvey relies on a look through his optical microscope. A searing hot entry into the atmosphere would burn a fusion crust onto the space rock.
Oh, wow. This is an amazing little stone. I can see fusion crust. Congratulations. You found a meteorite.
Thank you.
I found a meteorite! I find it ironic that Steve is famous for finding this 1,430-pound meteorite, largest meteorite of his career. You are now looking at the smallest meteorite of his career.
Although minute, Steve's Pultusk P is a window into the dawn of our solar system.
Here's my big find for the day.
What is that?
Made a lot of noise.
This is nice.
What? It looks nice?
To see into the future and record the birth of new stars, scientists are using flying telescopes to peer into the darkest recesses of the universe. Steve and Geoff have been granted access to a highly secure NASA research facility in the California desert.
This is a really incredible field trip, if you will. Geoff and I, we go out in the dirt, in the brush. We're out looking for meteorites. Here's a chance for us to see the cleaned up version of what the science does. Meteorites can take scientists back to those first few million years after it all came together. What astronomy can do is it can go back to the time a solar system, not ours, but one of our neighboring solar systems, to go back to see how solar systems form.
Here's your badge. Please have it visible at all times.
We're talking high security. I can't believe they even let me get close enough to touch it.
Wow. She's gorgeous.
This is Sophia, a 747 passenger jet that has been converted into a flying observatory. NASA astrophysicist Eric Beckler, known for his pioneering study of infrared sources at the center of our galaxy, is Sophia's chief scientist.
A 100-inch telescope in a 747 aircraft. All right, let's go and see the observatory.
SOFIA stands for Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy. It looks like a regular 747 from the outside, but all that changes at the cabin door.
Holy cow! Whoa!
The familiar interior has been ripped out and replaced with millions of dollars worth of galaxy-probing gizmos.
We're ready in the control room at 33.4.
SOFIA is NASA's powerful new tool in its ongoing quest to unravel the mysteries of the universe. For decades, scientists have been looking forward to the day when they could carry out their work beyond the obscuring water vapor of the Earth's atmosphere. And SOFIA does this, a true window on the universe.
Let's see the main part of this observatory, the actual telescope. What we're looking at here is the backside of the SOFIA telescope, and on the actual primary mirror, the 100-inch mirror, is on the other side of that white bulkhead. That, of course, was all put in. That isn't part of the original aircraft.
Okay.
SOFIA flies at an altitude of 45,000 feet, well above any weather that would blind a ground-based observatory. How do you put a telescope in a 747? Well, first, a big hole was cut in the fuselage for a sliding door. Then, inside a hangar in Texas, the German-built telescope's primary mirror was carefully installed.
The aircraft actually has a hole in it. That hole is covered up by a door when we take off and land, and then opens up once we get into the stratosphere. Now, if we were observing in the stratosphere, the door on the outside would be open right along this direction.
Okay.
The reason that you go up into the stratosphere to do infrared observations is that the water in the atmosphere And we have a lot of water in the atmosphere that loves to absorb infrared radiation. But if you get up in the stratosphere, we can do things that you can't do from any mountain site with SOFIA.
The project will gather evidence that will help scientists decode the origin of life on Earth, furthering our understanding of how galaxies evolve as they examine comets, meteorites, and gas within space.
That is exploration on the largest stage that there is.
Up here is where we operate the telescope from. And this rack here is for the scientist and his instrument, or her instrument, that is on the telescope.
Oh, I love the names on the monitors. Are they all named after science fiction shows?
Probably.
I think so.
Well, let's go into the cockpit.
The aircraft came with an appropriate history of exploration. It first flew for Pan Am in 1977, christened the Clipper Lindbergh.
So we have a very special aircraft here, and it's a very good aircraft as well.
Being a Pan Am passenger jet and the Lindbergh Clipper, right. And now it's gone on to this incredible new career.
Exactly.
And you got the lead.
The infrared observations the telescope makes are crucial for studying low-temperature objects, such as the raw materials for star and planet formation, and for seeing through interstellar dust clouds that block light at visible wavelengths. Flying above 40,000 feet, the telescope has a clear view of the entire range of infrared radiation coming from space.
So how long has SOFIA been gathering images, and what are some of the things that scientists look for?
SOFIA has been now operational about a year.
Okay.
So we've looked at a number of things. One of the things we like to look at is where stars are forming, because you can't see that in the visible.
What Eric and his team are doing are flying this amazing monster airplane and telescope at the edge of the range of these big jets and looking back at the beginning of the universe. Not just our little bit of it, but star formation millions, billions of years ago. It is the cutting edge of science.